Hey everybody, CalviNNatioN here with another video for you. In today's video we're going to be talking about this guy, the Dodo. The Dodo went the way of the Dodo. That's what Spyderco says. Let's hear a little bit more about what they think of their sweet knife that I believe Eric did make. Eric Glesser, you can see his mark here. That is the son of Sal. Very cool dude. Awesome knife that he made. So what does Spyderco have to say? Here it is. After a long successful run, it was discontinued from Spyderco's product line a number of years ago. Spyderco is reviving the Dodo in a limited sprint run of 1,000 pieces. They talk a little bit more here about how today's world is about designing a small folder that looks, feels, and cuts like a large knife. It requires superior handle ergonomics, high-level lock strength, and quality materials paired with a small blade. The Dodo's blade focuses cutting power over an arcing belly that ends in a finely ground downward curving tip, ideal for detailed fine cutting. It is made out of CPM S30V steel in a plain edge that's 2.125 inches long. It's got a safety orange G10 handle with finger choils positioned for the hand to solidly lock up on the handle. The locking mechanism is Spyderco's ball bearing lock that I'm not totally sure if Eric designed. I know this was his design, the Dodo was his design. I'm not sure if it was his design though, the actual lock, but it is the bearing lock. It contains a steel ball bearing that when open is thrust into a recessed area in the blade's tang. We'll show you that a bit later, and that's what locks it. A flexible wire clip settles the Dodo tip up in a pocket suitable for left or right hand carry. The sprint run is available for a limited time only. All of them are gone, except a few. And I know where those are. I think. If they're still there, you can PM me about it. I've debated getting another one. I'm really surprised that there's any left still. But I believe there is maybe just a few left at this one place. So, let's get started with the review. Let's take a look at that blade. This is, again, a CPM S30V steel blade, and I'll be honest with you, mine didn't come that sharp. Let's see if I can show it to you. I got my sheet from my Techno review, and I don't know, but you can I can feel right along this part of the blade, and also right down by the choil there. You can see that it's really not sharp for just that first 1/8 inch. They didn't get all the way down, like at all. But then this is very sharp until it just hits this part of the tip right here. It's pretty rough around the edges, so they didn't quite do an amazing job on the sharpening of mine, at least. But I mean, give it a little touch up, which I haven't yet. It's a little bit weird to sharpen. I think I could do it, but I'm not. There's no really point because I'm not going to use it too much. But it wasn't that sharp from the factory. I'll just tell you that right now. So, but you know what? Spyderco usually always gets it right. I'm not a huge. It's not a huge disappointment to me. And as you can see, the bits that were sharp were dang sharp. And with this blade shape, with that sharpness, even, there's no way you're not getting through whatever you want to get through still with that, especially with that crazy tip, which that probably even just rubbing it there barely went through the first little layer of my skin. It is intensely sharp, that little tip there. Busting into a box, I mean, it's crazy. Just that crazy tip. You can see a small little swedge there. It looks very cool. The blade shape is absolutely incredible. I really like the finish on this. It's kind of a brushed look, but also has kind of a pearlescent glow. Looks very cool. Got a big thumb hole that is positioned pretty accessible there on the handle. This is a knife you're not going to be able to flick out super easy. Like my Techno review, I've never really tried with the Dodo. We can try right now. There you go. That's actually pretty quite easy. You know what, now that I've thought about it, I've definitely done that before. I haven't used this knife for a long time. Like I said, it stays in the safe here most of the time. So it isn't a knife that I use too often. Let's have a look at this handle. Let's work our way down a bit more. Actually, you know what? let's have a look at this locking mechanism. Get it to focus. One thing I like about this camera is when it focuses it gets real close. Just gotta get it there. Wow, it doesn't usually take this long. Come on, baby. Maybe it has something to do with the steel ball there, with the reflection. Okay, so, hold on one sec. I'm gonna get a bit more light in here. Oh dang, there goes the light. Oh wow, I'm real tangled up here. Okay, so if we have a look, we got that steel ball, which pretty coolly, if coolly is a word, it's not actually attached directly to the pin there. If you can see it, you can probably just see that I'm spinning the actual ball. It's pretty cool. I don't know if it's magnetized on there, but you can see I just pulled the pin right off the ball there. So that's pretty cool. It's a super sturdy locking mechanism, and the ball is not even attached. At first I thought it was just a straight pin with the ball right attached with the spring, but it is not the case. I'll show you how that little cutout in the tang actually works. Like I said, you can see it kind of works like the axis lock. The spring with the pin rotates around the tang, so when you're opening it, it's pressed back, and then when it gets to a certain part on the tang right here, and you can see, I don't believe this was on the older models, they ground that down or beveled it just a little bit. Not totally sure why that is, but they ground that down just a little bit, so once it gets past that spherical part of the tang into the flat part of the tang, that ball bounces in, and it locks right into position. And I'm not totally sure what acts as the blades, or I guess the ball does totally act as the blade stop because it's against this steel spacer here. So it's a little confusing. I've never looked at this in total detail, but again, it curves around that that round part of the tang, and as you can see here, the detent works as just a little sharp part of that tang rubbing against that ball to pop it past that first sharp part there, and then it again works away around that round part and then pops in there, and then the blade stop is just the ball against the steel liner here, also against that tang of the blade. So that's how that works. Very, very cool system. I really like it. Next we'll talk a little bit more about those ergos. You can see it is extremely ergonomic, probably Spyderco's most ergonomic blade. For one, we got this little cutout right here, a choil, another big kind of palm choil, as well as a finger choil in the back here, or just whatever you want to call it, just, I don't know, a shaped part of the handle that holds your fingers. And at the top we also have a thumb ramp, as most Spydercos do, without the jimping. And you know what? I think I like this knife better without the jimping because you really don't need it. If you put your thumb right in there, there's like no way of it falling out. If you go up here a bit, you're going to slide if you use that pad of your thumb. If you use the tip of your thumb like that, you're not getting out of there. And then, like I mentioned, there's this little groove in the top where you can stick your whole thumb in there. It fits perfectly. So if you're doing detailed work, that's amazing right there. You can get right up close to that tip, and if you really want, you go all the way to that tip and keep going, because it's shaped out pretty well there for your thumb as well if you really need it. But you can see I generally like to keep my pointer finger in the choil, 2 fingers in that wider choil, I guess you can say, and then my pinky finger on that back groove for your pinky. And then we got a arcing back spine that fits the palm nicely, fits in that kind of natural arc that your thumb makes when it's on that thumb ramp there. So it's a beautiful design. I really, really enjoy it. And if you don't know why it's called the Dodo, just check out the beak of the dodo bird, which, like the dodo, is extinct, or was, and I guess still is, unless until those 2 or so that are on the one website are taken. So let's have a look at the pocket clip. Very cool, pretty deep. Cutlery Lover mentioned this, but if you put it in your pocket, it doesn't really look like a knife. You could totally mistake that as a pen. So even though it does creep up, 3/4 of an inch or just over half an inch or something like that, it really doesn't look like a knife. It's also orange, so I mean, you shouldn't worry too much. It's got a free flowing design with that one back spacer there. Again, made out of steel. You can see that in there. And then it's just got the one pillar on the back for the construction to keep it together. So there it is. There's no liners, just pure orange G10, which you guys all know is my favorite. Let's have one quick pan of this knife real close. Get a look at that checker G10. And look at that, just focused instantly. Maybe I'll just have to look at that G10 every time I want to get it focused. I think it likes it. S30V. And maybe we can even see how it didn't quite get sharpened. Yeah, you can see there. Maybe they meant to do that, but it looks to me like that was originally meant to be sharpened all the way to the very edge here. So, there's the edge. Very sharp, and just a beautiful, beautiful finish. The round hole obviously there, and there we got that Spyder, made in Golden, Colorado, one of the few that are, which is always nice. And there again is Eric Lesser's symbol. So there's my review on the Dodo. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Take it easy.